Hey, Bruce Feldman, joined this week by Utah receiver Britain Covey. The Utes are coming off a big win last week against USC. It has been a emotional roller coaster for this program. They have a good Arizona State team coming in to Salt Lake City on Saturday night. Britain, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks. No, you said it best. It's been a roller coaster this whole year has. So last week meant a lot to us. It was good to go out there and play like how we've thought we could for a long time. So
let's kind of start there. So obviously people know last month you had the tragic death of a teammate, Aaron Lowe, and it's really, you're not that far removed from Ty Jordan's death, another terrific player you guys got from the state of Texas. I mean, you're one of the leaders of the program, and I think from talking to you a little bit before, I know you strike me as way more mature than the average college player. But at the same time, just to go through this, what has it been like for you personally, but also for your teammates to kind of get through? I don't want to say get through this, but just kind of cope with it.
Yeah, it's been challenging. I mean, like you said, we kind of had that residual feeling from Ty already. With Ty, it was really difficult because we weren't together, right? It happened basically on Christmas, and all of us were gone. And then when we came back, we had to go through a quarantine process because of COVID. So we weren't able to be together, which was really tough. But this one made it a little bit easier because we could kind of mourn together, bond together. I think for a lot of us, what's so hard is, and I'm sure you remember at some point in your life this experience, but this is the first time that a lot of us have had kind of an unexpected tragedy of someone that's close to you, right? I mean, I've had a couple cousins who have passed away, right? But in terms of just friend, someone that you work with every day and love, I think a lot of us are going through this for the first time. And so there are a lot of emotions that come with that, and trying to stay focused on a football season while dealing with it is really challenging. What helped us the most was when Aaron's mom came and talked to us and basically talked to the team and said, Aaron would want you to go forward, like play for him, think of him, use him as a reference point. And it kind of just gave us permission to go forward. And now we'll break a lot of our team things with, 22%, because that's kind of our motto right now, is get 22% better. And we don't take that lightly. If you say that, everybody means it. So it's been challenging, but it's taught me a lot. It's taught us a lot about each other, about the program, about life, what you're going through. And I just feel like we have a bigger purpose right now than just football, just winning games, things like that.
How challenging is it to stay focused where you are on this kind of emotional, because you do have a big win against USC. I'm sure it was kind of like an adrenaline release to get that. But at the same point, you come back Sunday and yes, you won a football game, but at the same point, the tragedy is still not far removed from you.
Yeah. Well, that's why the funeral was so good. The funeral was kind of to be able to listen to Aaron's family talk, like I said, is what kind of gives us permission to move forward. And someone said something at the funeral about, you'll never get over it, but you'll get through it. And I think that's kind of the stance we're taking as a team. Like, we don't want to have to get over this, but we do need to get through it. We want to get through it and use his and Ty's memory as something to propel us forward in everything, not just football, right? I love talking about this because for me, the inspiration that Aaron's death has brought to us to be better people and stuff and a better team, it doesn't automatically translate to wins and losses, but that's not what is important. And I know that's kind of like a cliche John Wooden type thing to hear, that wins aren't the ultimate goal, but I feel like we really do have a deeper purpose than that right now. So after putting him to rest, I feel a great sense of closure that's come over the team. We've had our two best practices of the year by far the last 2 days. And I think that's why. And so I don't think it's going to be tough to stay focused anymore. I think it was for a little bit, but now we feel good.
Is it even more of maybe a reality check to know, hey, we got Arizona State. We see how well they're playing. They have a big time quarterback in Jalen Daniels. A lot of people look at it, hey, if Arizona State wins this game, they have a easy path, or at least a really clear path to win the Pac-12 South, that you guys have a chance. It's it's a great home environment. Anybody who's been at your stadium knows how loud that place can get.
Yeah,
How does that factor into where you guys are in terms of the preparation and getting so excited for Saturday night?
it's big. It's huge. I think that seeing what we could do on Saturday night has given us, kind of a jolt of energy, but then also understanding the impact of this game, right? You live for games like this. Like, I'm just trying to, memorize every moment right now leading up to this game, because you only get so many, right? And I can count on one or two hands the amount of games where I feel this type of buildup and energy towards, because it's such a big game, and we each have so much respect for each other. We've gone in their place and gotten blown out. They've come to our place and gotten blown out, and vice versa. So it's just a game that you grow up wanting to play in. Every fan is looking forward to and circling on the schedule. So I'm excited. It's going to be cold, 8 p.m. kickoff, right? It's typical football weather, football season type of atmosphere.
Yes, word on the street is you've already had a snowfall in Salt Lake City.
I'm wearing this. I know.
Yeah, snow's on the ground and everything. So, what do you find out about your teammates who are new to the University of Utah program?
Well, that is every year one of my favorite days. It's the first time it snows, because Utah weather is crazy, right? I mean, you're from New York or wherever, similar to that, right? It can snow in the middle of whenever. And so there's always one random day in October, when it just, or beginning of October, end of September, when it just is a blizzard. And that was today. You just wake up, look out the window, and there's snow. And you come to the facility and you see which of your teammates have never experienced snow. And they are just bundled up like you wouldn't believe. They're like so dramatic. And so I'm excited to go to practice today and see which guys are just bundled from head to toe, and which guys are the most dramatic about it, and scare them and say, this is the weather for the next, 5 months.
When we first met, it was at Pac-12 Media Days. And the thing that I thought jumped out at me, and I imagine it jumps out at almost anybody who meets you, is you have this kind of energy about you. And the only person I know who really has the same energy is Yogi Roth, our friend from the Pac-12 Network. And it's ironic that you ended up interning for him. And for anybody who hasn't been around Yogi, he's really that way in person, not just on TV, where it's just like relentlessly upbeat, is the way I would describe him. And you feel like you have that same vibe. You guys kind of kindred spirits?
Well, I would love to be kindred spirits with Yogi. I mean, part of what drew me to Yogi was that infectious optimism that he has, right? I'm sure it gets annoying from his wife to be constantly optimistic. That's what my wife sometimes says to me. She says she feels like she's married to a golden retriever sometimes. Just happy to do stuff. But I think that's just a demeanor that I've admired throughout my life. And so I've tried to emulate. Yogi's a great role model for me. Seriously, doing that internship with him was great. I learned a lot, and more than anything, just from example of watching him. And so I would love to be kindred spirits with Yogi. I still call him on a weekly, monthly basis just to talk about things, and he asks for updates. And so it's exciting to have someone like that, and feels like in my corner. But yeah, I think that to some point, I'm not saying for everybody, but I think that at some point, your attitude and your optimism and your view on life, your paradigm is a choice. I think that it's a lot easier for certain people than others, right? But I do think that it is a choice in some sense of the word. And I want to spend my life being happy and making other people around me happy. And one of the main things was, so my oldest brother played college football at BYU, right? And I was just he was my idol, and all of his friends were my idol, all of the BYU teammates. And I remember the players that were kind to me and went out of their way for an 8-9-year-old kid and just would make me feel so good. And then I remember the players that like didn't really care, wouldn't take the time of day, or you'd feel intimidated by and things like that. And so that's not who I want to be. You know, when I'll take even if it kills me, I'll stretch myself thin to try and make this person's day, because I remember what that was like. And I don't want to be some intimidating football player. I mean, I'm 5'8", 160 pounds, right? But I think that's what it comes down to. You want to help people feel good about themselves. You know, not have them look at you like wide-eyed, but have them feel good about themselves and like you have a good relationship.
You and Yogi, obviously you're both receivers, and I think he's taller than you, you're faster than him, but he grew up in Pittsburgh, you grew up on the West Coast, not like you have exactly the same backgrounds or anything, or how you were raised, but the kind of aura to me feels very similar. And I always wonder, it's something, you know, I'm kind of envious of. Somebody could have that kind of spirit and that kind of optimism. I mean, the things you're saying, I feel like it's like easier said than done, because a lot of people, I feel like a lot of people's kind of default instinct is either negativity or skepticism and everything. And so, and I don't know if this is necessarily drifts into the mental health aspect, because I do feel like there's a lot about what it's your mindset. But I am curious, you know, you're kind of a student of the human condition, it seems like. How do you kind of keep that? And you've been through a lot now, especially just as a teammate and as a friend, when you've had two major tragedies that you guys, not just you, but your teammates have had to get through. So what are the ways you are able to do it more than just say, hey, I'm going to remember this, but what else do you feel like, and also what challenges you to try to stay that way?
Yeah. Well, like you said, so many of these concepts and principles, I always get a kick out of just like human behavior classes, because so much of it does feel idealistic, right? Like, oh yeah, in a perfect world, I'm just going to be happy through the storm and choose my condition and all those things. But I think that it's just kind of like this unwavering desire to become a type of person. And you're not going to be there, you're going to fail and do that thing, but it's like you don't give up. I think life is not about being something, it's about becoming something. I want to be like Yogi, I want to be like my grandpa, right? And so you just keep trying, and things like this are your tests in life when it's hard to try. You know, it's so easy to be a leader when everything's going great. Whenever I look around the country at college football teams and see the controversy that happens when they start losing, when there's no controversy when certain teams are winning, and they talk about the leadership of guys and teams that are winning. You know, the leadership to me, it happens when things aren't going well, and you see that. That's why Cam Rising was such a great leader for us this year, right? He's been the same guy when the season was going poorly as it is now, and so I think that's kind of what we've all experienced. So easy to be happy when things are going great, but then when you have a couple of teammates pass away and things aren't going great, you learn who you really are, but like who you want to be. Who do I want to be in those situations? My grandpa had the most influence on me of anybody, right? His books, I've read multiple times, and it's the typical, like you said, human behavior condition, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, right? And I remember they've asked him multiple times in his speeches. He passed away about 8 years ago, but they said, how often do you live the 7 habits? And he said, probably 75% of the time, you know? So it's not even someone who wrote about it and taught it, and it was like every part of him couldn't do it all the time. It's impossible, but you just keep trying. So
after football is done, how do you carry these things forward, and how do you share them with all the people around you, and kind of use this spirit to kind of champion it and kind of take maybe your grandpa's message and
Yeah.
and grow it?
Well, gosh, that's a good question. I've thought a lot about what I want to do after and things like that. I feel like I would regret it the rest of my life if I didn't try coaching. Kind of like Yogi, but because coaches have had such a big impact on my life. And I feel like coaches that recognize that they're more than just like a football coach can really do that. So I think I'll try that at some point. I really want to. And then other than that, I feel like just whatever platform I have, for me, it's been sports because of my experience, right? But just trying to bring these teachings to people, because like I said, it's not about me or anything like that. Like, it's about the people who helped me understand this. That's who I think of with this stuff. And that's kind of who I want to be in the future, right? Just a selfless person who gets their joy from helping others feel that way or whatever it is. So I'm not sure, sure I'll feel pressure to write a book at some point in my life. Oh gosh, I don't, we'll see if that happens, but definitely want to try coaching at some point.
You can do all that. Yogi's already written 2 books. And
I know. We'll see. I've got a couple of things that I'm working on too with name, image, and likeness that I hope can do some good, some charity things. So
what are those things? What are those specific things that you're feeling like you can kind of leverage right
now? Using name, image, and likeness for more than just making money at the end of the day. I mean, that's kind of what the whole point is about, sponsoring things that you care about and things like that. So that's kind of what I'm thinking of. And I've got a couple of ideas. Maybe I'll text you or message you in the next couple of weeks when I finally come out with it. But just some things that I know would have helped me and that I hope to help some other athletes with.
All right, Britain, we appreciate your time. Obviously, we appreciate your energy and kind of the aura you have. It is unique. And fans can check out the Utes in a big game Saturday night in Salt Lake City when ASU comes to town. It should be a really fun game.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing this, Britt.
Thanks, Bruce. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.